Harper Audio presents A Woman of Substance by Barbara Taylor Bradford, read by Bea Holland. The value of life lies not in the length of days, but in the use we make of them. A man may live long, yet get little from life. Whether you find satisfaction in life depends not on your tale of years, but on your will. Montaigne, Essays. I have the heart of a man, not of a woman, and I am not afraid of anything. Elizabeth I, Queen of England. Part 1. The Valley, 1968. He poureth in the valley and rejoiceth in his strength. He goeth on to meet the armed men. Job. 1. Emma Harte leaned forward and looked out of the window. The private Learjet, property of the Cytex Oil Corporation of America, had been climbing steadily up through a vaporous haze of cumulus clouds, and was now streaking through a sky so penetratingly blue, its shimmering clarity hurt the eyes. Momentarily dazzled by this early morning brightness, Emma turned away from the window, rested her head against the seat, and closed her eyes. For a brief instant, the vivid blueness was trapped beneath her lids, and in that instant, such a strong and unexpected feeling of nostalgia was evoked within her that she caught her breath in surprise. It's the sky from the Turner painting above the upstairs parlour fireplace at Penistone Royal, she thought. A Yorkshire sky on a spring day when the wind has driven the fog from the moors. A faint smile played around her mouth, curving the line of the lips with unfamiliar softness, as she thought with some pleasure of Penistone Royal. That great house that grew up out of the stark and harsh landscape of the moors, and which always appeared to her to be a force of nature, engineered by some almighty architect, rather than a mere edifice erected by mortal man. The one place on this violent planet where she had found peace, limitless peace, that soothed and refreshed her. Her home. She had been away far too long this time, almost 6 weeks, which was a prolonged absence indeed for her. But within the coming week she would be returning to London, and by the end of the month she would travel north to Penistone, to peace, tranquillity, her gardens, and her grandchildren. This thought cheered her immeasurably, and she relaxed in her seat. The tension that had built up over the last few days diminishing until it had evaporated. She was bone-tired from the raging battles that had punctuated these last few days of board meetings at the Cytex corporate headquarters in Odessa. She was supremely relieved to be leaving Texas and returning to the relative calmness of her own corporate offices in New York. It was not that she did not like Texas. In point of fact, she had always had a penchant for that great state, seeing in its rough, sprawling power something akin to her native Yorkshire. But this last trip had exhausted her. I'm getting too old for gallivanting around on planes, she thought ruefully, and then dismissed that thought as unworthy. It was dishonest, and she was never dishonest with herself. It saved so much time in the long run. And in all truthfulness, she did not feel old, only a trifle tired on occasion, and especially when she became exasperated with fools. And Harry Marriott, president of Cytex, was a fool, and inherently dangerous, like all fools. Emma opened her eyes and sat up impatiently, her mind turning again to business, for she was tireless, sleepless, obsessive when it came to her vast business enterprises, which rarely left her thoughts. She straightened her back and crossed her legs, adopting her usual posture, a posture that was contained and regal. There was an imperiousness in the way she held her head and in her general demeanour, and her green eyes were full of enormous power. She lifted one of her small, strong hands.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?